In this video, I'm going to show you how I like to teach the handstand walk and a couple of tips and tricks to help you hopefully get your first handstand walk or help you get more distance in the handstand walk. So the first step in learning how to handstand walk is going to be kicking up to the wall and understanding how to get upside down and feel a good position. First, we're just going to start with our hands on the ground, okay, about 8 inches from the wall, and then we're in this runner's stance, okay? This leg swings, this leg hops. So all we're going to try and do first is look towards the wall behind us. We're going to swing the long leg and then hop. And all you're trying to do is touch the wall behind you. Once you can touch the wall and you feel where it is, then we're going to bring the hopping leg up with us and try and meet them against the wall. So again, hands on the ground, shoulder is open. We're going to swing and hop, touch, swing, hop, and then bring the other heel up, okay? Once you can do that, then I like to see you to be able to kind of step into it. So we're gonna start with our hands above our head. You're gonna keep the ear by the arm. We're gonna step and then fold at the hip instead of folding at the arm, okay? So keep the arms over the head, step, fold. As soon as the hands touch, you're already looking at the wall and in this nice stack position. Once you feel comfortable with kicking up back facing, then we want to see a nose and toes hold. You can get into this through a wall walk or you can get into this through a round off, but basically this is just a drill to help you work position upside down. What we want to see is just the nose and the toes touching. Okay, so we're not going to lay the belly against the wall. We're not going to look out in front. We're trying to reach and just have the nose and toes touch. Once you feel comfortable upside down, back facing, in the nose and toes hold, then what I like to see is you to work a shoulder tap. Now, in my opinion, the shoulder tap is harder against the wall than it is in the open floor, but we're gonna start here. So what this is about is you understanding that you need to move like this about your shoulder in order to do your handstand walk. Okay, we're not gonna pick the hand up like this because it's like picking up one foot out from underneath you. You're just gonna tip to that side. When we walk, right, we shift weight onto one hip and then we move the foot and then we shift weight to the other foot. Okay, so we need to be able to do the same thing upside down. So when I kick up, I'm gonna shift my weight first so I can feel the weight come off of my hand, and then I'm just gonna try and shrug my shoulder up to start that shoulder tap. So we're kicking up. Again, I'm gonna shift the weight. Now I'll feel heavy on this hand. I'm just trying to give a little space. Shift the weight, feel heavy on the left hand, pick up, okay? Now, it's also easy if you spread wide. You can do this a little bit easier, but this is what we're trying to get after. Once you can get a little bit of light, then it takes a little bit more confidence. You can pick up and touch the same side shoulder. So I like to see thumb touch the shoulder. We're gonna kick up. Again, we're gonna shift the weight first, touch, shift the weight, touch. Once you feel comfortable with all of those drills, you should have pretty good awareness on your hands, and it's time to move to the open floor. I think that there's nothing that really replaces working on the open floor. I see a lot of people where they'll do a nose and toes hold, and then they'll hover there for a second and kind of touch the wall. I think those are fine drills for a time, but nothing will replace your understanding of where your body is in space on the open floor. Balance is neurological, and so it requires you to practice and try and maybe fail and then try again. And you know, it's like throwing a dart. If the dart goes a little bit to the left, the next time you throw it, you try and throw it a little bit to the right, and eventually you'll figure out where a bullseye is. When we're upside down in the handstand, there's two ways we can be. We can either be overbalanced, where we're falling forward, or typically what we see when people start is they're underbalanced, where they don't kick up enough to actually move forward. This video is sponsored by Barbell Apparel. For the highest quality workout gear, check out the link in the description, and you can find all the clothes that I wear in the gym every single day. Thanks again to Barbell Apparel for sponsoring this video. Same idea as far as kicking up onto the wall. We want to start and take the shoulder out of the equation. Okay, so we're gonna step, fold, and kick, and all I wanna see you try and do is just find what balanced is. Okay, so one toe goes up, the other toe goes up, and then we come right back down. Once you get comfortable with that, just feeling like you can kick up onto the open floor. If you kick up too hard, you should start to break your fall by moving your hand forward. There's no difference between standing and walking on your hands and standing and walking on your feet. If I try and take a step forward without leaning my weight, I can't move forward at all. The only way for me to walk forward or to move forward with my feet is I have to lean, and my step is what breaks my fall. When you're upside down, you have to fight the fear of falling. If you're not feeling like you're gonna tip over and you're not overbalanced where you're falling, you're not gonna move forward. And a lot of times what we see is people end up just walking the base out from underneath their body. What that looks like is this. They'll step, they'll kick, their feet won't go over, and they'll just kind of like walk their hands forward. Make sure that before your hands move, you feel that sensation of falling. So we're gonna wait until we feel like we're gonna fall, and then we're gonna take our step. So step, fold, whoa, and we take our first step. Okay, now you notice that the way that I came out was my hips twisted. This is an easy way and a safe way to come out of the handstand. If you want to continue handstand walking forward and you have this habit of where you take 1 or 2 steps and then you notice you always spin your hips open, you basically need to just fight the fear of falling again. You need to fight rotating your hips when you're moving your hands forward. So we're gonna kick up and we're gonna try and keep our hips square to the ground. So again, reach overhead, step, square hips, wait till you feel yourself fall, and then we're gonna keep going. Again, hips twist, and you can come out on one hand. One other concept that I really like to teach is the idea that you have 2 legs. One of your legs is your sail, and one of them is your anchor. So you'll have one foot that is leading and that's bringing you forward in your handstand walk, and you'll have one foot that's dragging you down. You can exaggerate this like we did against the wall with the shoulder tap, and you can do a split and feel that balance side to side. So this leg that kicks over, right? This is my heavy anchor leg. It's always gonna draw me back down. When we're in the handstand walk, your heels need to be over your head. Your weight needs to be overbalanced. If you feel like uncomfortable, you can have one leg that is bent, your foot is pointing towards the direction you want to go. That's going to be your sail leg. And then you have one leg that's pointed straight up in the sky, and that's going to be your anchor leg. And if you ever feel uncomfortable, all you need to do is drop that anchor down, and you will kick backwards out of the handstand walk safely. So when I'm doing a long set of handstand walk, typically this is what I'll do. I'll kick, I'll have one leg straight up and one leg that is leading me forward, right? So this anchor leg, I leave it straight, and that will help you, feel a good balance and feel safe to be able to continue walking on your hands. Ideally, you also want to be able to do feet touching, pointing straight up, a nice tight gymnastics style handstand walk. That's not always the fastest way to walk on your hands. Bending your legs is okay, especially if you notice that you slow down or you stop. If you need to continue to move forward, bending at the knee, not arching the back, but bending at the knee will help get more weight over your head and continue to help you move forward in the handstand walk. So if I am in a nice, tall, tight, pointed handstand walk like this, and I feel myself slow down or I might fall, if I bend my knees, it will give me more weight forward to continue to walk. That's a helpful thing if you're feeling stuck upside down, that will help you move forward more. So ideally what we don't want to see is like the crazy arch through the back, the scorpion position where you're driving this mostly through your chest. And a lot of times this comes from people that have really tight lats or poor shoulder mobility. So ideally we want to be able to get our shoulder all the way over our head with our ribs drawn down and where you can see the ear past the arm. If you sit at a desk a lot and your shoulder position looks like this, then when we handstand walk, it becomes really hard for people to open the shoulder and they start walking through the chest. And in order to move forward, they have to arch through the spine, and it gets harder and harder and harder. Especially if you have other movements that are very low back intensive, that just becomes worse and worse and worse over the course of a Metcon. So What we don't want to see you do is handstand walk through your chest, which looks like this. We want to be able to open the shoulder. That's why I like to practice a good solid kick up against the wall, starting with an open shoulder position where our ear is by our arm, because that allows us to translate that into a handstand walk about our shoulders, which is really what we want. If you struggle with the handstand walk and you can only get like 5 to 10 feet and then you just feel an immense amount of shoulder fatigue, a lot of times that is because people are taking little tiny steps. So one thing that I've found is also really helpful for people is practicing handstand walk for speed and trying to take a big strong kick up and big strides will help reduce the time under tension, and it'll help you understand, how to really overbalance and carry that speed with you into a longer distance handstand walk. So trying to kick up fast, as soon as you throw your legs over your head, you're moving and taking big steps. So it looks like this. Instead of kicking up and being kind of ginger with it, where you're here and you're really trying to control every step. It can help if you have a little bit more speed, especially if you're doing something like a ramp or stairs or any kind of obstacle like that. You're going to need a little bit more speed. You're going to need a little bit more overbalance in the handstand walk.